Okay, thanks, ladies and gents, for joining. Welcome you to a session of Tech Bleed Tech Chat, where we discuss tech and tech opportunities. And today we are going to be talking DevOps. So before we get into the thick of the matter, I want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Shegun Ojorale. I am the CEO of Tech Bleed Limited. I work as a technical consultant for various organizations, and I also run IT tech training. I've kind of built an agenda of how we're going to operate tonight, which I will share with you shortly. That. So the agenda tonight would be a quick introduction, which I already started about myself and the company. So I want to introduce you to TechBleed to understand what we do and how we can be of help to you. And then we're going to talk DevOps. What exactly it is, what is DevOps, and why is it so important? So that will be the crux of the matter tonight. The key thing, though, to bear in mind tonight is because I know we have a very diverse audience, so the session is not going to be very techy deliberately, so it can make sense to as much audience as possible. Also, I'm going to emphasize on how this can be of use to you and how we can be of help to you. So we're going to talk about what DevOps is exactly about and why you should care about DevOps, how you can benefit from it. And then we're going to talk about how we can be of help. So I have a few people working with me who are already connected tonight as well, and they're going to be able to kind of make you see things from their point of view and how they have kind of gone about their own DevOps journey and what you can pick from their experience. And then we're going to go about the next steps. So if you think this is for you, what are the next steps you have to take? And then we're going to talk about, we're going to take questions and answers. So that's the plan. That's the plan. What I want to please play with you about is if you have any questions, instead of maybe interrupt, if you want to ask questions before we get to Q&A, please just type your question in the chat. I am going to be checking, and I can answer your question as quickly as possible. But it helps if you are not distracted or interrupted by people asking questions verbally. So if you can type them, I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to be watching the screen, and I can respond to you as quickly as possible. Thank you very much. So, TechBleed. So TechBleed is a company that was founded about 7 years ago. So we are basically into training and IT consulting. That is our sort of main area of operation. Our motto is we believe that anyone can do tech, regardless of your background, regardless of whatever anyone may have told you in the past, because we have successfully trained a lot of people, even without IT background, and who are doing and flying high in their chosen IT profession today. So the myth about IT is for people who have studied computing in uni or did mathematics in school and what have you. It doesn't really hold. If you have the right training and the right mentality, anything is possible, and that is not only specific to IT. Almost anything in life you can do with the right mentality. So that is what we believe. This is what we preach, and this is what we try to do with people. So anyone can do tech. That is our motto, and that is what we try to preach, and that is what we try to get people into believing and actually making it come to pass. Our focus is on cloud and DevOps. We focus on Python training, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So we train on this and we consult on this. So we will do consultation on cloud and DevOps. A lot of things might be flying over your head now. Don't worry about it. We are going to talk about some of them, specifically DevOps tonight. So cloud DevOps, Python coding, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. These are the aspects that we focus on. We also kind of cover AML, which is not, IT per se, regulation and compliance, and CAMS certification. So things around compliance, anti-money laundering, and CAMS certification, we do cover that as well in terms of training, hands-on experience, and all that. As mentioned earlier, we've been around for about 7 years. We've trained a good number of people. I don't have the number, to be honest. It's been a very healthy number, I have to say. We are in the UK, so we do run trainings in UK, we run trainings in US, and in Nigeria. We hope to expand to Canada and a few other places this year. So we're in these countries at the moment. Question already flying. Let me see, please. My voice is going on and off. Okay. Is that the same for everyone?
No.
Do you want to check your network? Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay, so without much ado, let's get into what DevOps is all about and why we should care about DevOps. Again, I'm going to make this as less techy as possible deliberately. So there are a lot of things I'm going to sort of skim over, just to make sure that we don't lose sight of the crux of the matter. It's better to understand the concept, and we can worry about the nitty-gritty down the line. So what exactly is DevOps? So DevOps is a very loosely used term. Let's move that. So what exactly is DevOps? It's a very loosely used term in the IT world. People kind of use the term quite loosely. So it could mean different things to different people, I'm afraid. I think it would be just like maybe a common word like maybe a common word. I'm thinking of a common word that could mean different things now. But the crux of the matter is people define DevOps as a suits them. So a company A might define DevOps as X, and a company B might define as Y, and a company B might define as Z. But generally, DevOps actually refers to the set of practices that allows communication or synergy between the development team and operations team. In IT, generally, you have people called developers. Developers typically will write code. So business will say, we want to do a web page, just for example. And the developers will get to work and design and write code to build a web page. That's what the developers typically do. They write code to build something. And historically, when the developers finish their code and test and everything is good, what they typically do is they hand over the code to another team called operations. Operations team don't write code, they don't understand code, but they know how to support a code that is written. Because when a developer writes a code on his laptop, so he goes and writes the code, he does not run the code on his laptop. He will give it to the company. The company will host the code on a platform that people around the world can use. The code originally was built on Mr. X developer's laptop. When the code was ready, he will hand over the code to Mr. Y, who will run the code in such a way that people across the world can log onto that website that he built and use it. They will not, the developer will not support the website on his laptop. As soon as the website he developed is ready, he will pass it over to the company, and the company hosts the website for him. And the operations team then take over the affair, the life of that code going forward. At that point, the developer is no longer involved. Finish the code, he's handed the code over, and the code has moved on to the operations team. However, there's a problem with that sort of arrangement or implementation. Main problem is that the operations team usually, oftentimes, do not understand the if you like the full workings of what developers have developed. So let's say, for example, something happens to the website tomorrow, something is not working properly. The operations team will have to rely and go back to the development team to say, oh, something is happening and we don't understand. And likewise, the development team does not understand how operations team work. They don't understand how does the operations team even make their code accessible to the people across the world. How does the operations team ensure that if something happens to the machine that is hosting their code, how does the operations team ensure that that does not impact the support of the code? The development team also does not understand how the operations team functions to ensure the code, the software can scale to support people in Nigeria, people in Pakistan, people in India, people in the US. How does the operations team handle that? The small code that developer writes on his laptop, how does that become something global that people across the world can use? Development team also, they don't have that understanding. So there's a gap between what development knows and what operations knows. And because of that gap, usually the part that bears the brunt is the company. Because if a developer cannot work in synergy with operations, because there's a bit of a knowledge gap between both of them, if something terrible happens, maybe to the code, maybe to the environment, business is not able to operate because eventually, in this case, the website goes down or something doesn't work. Developer would blame the operations team blames the developer. By the end of the day, it is the company that suffers. Imagine if you have a web portal or a website that is supporting your beautiful jewelry outlet. And this is December period when there's a lot of sales to be made, and during Christmas period, a lot of sales coming in, and boom, the website dies. And instead of people fixing the problem, there's a blame culture going on. Hey, it's my fault. It's your fault. It's not my fault. At the end of the day, it's a business that bears the brunt. So business don't have time for that shenanigan. What happened was a natural transformation of this mode of operations, where the development team works in silo, operations team works in silo. So we try to kind of bridge that gap between development and operations, and then we come up with a term called Dev and Ops. Then becomes DevOps. So DevOps is sort of a synergy between development and operations to make sure that the gap that is inherent to how they work is bridged. You can then define DevOps as an acronym for Dev and Operations. You can define it as a set of practices that facilitate synergy between dev, development team, and the operations team. Pitfall you should not fall into is DevOps is not a person. It is actually something you do. It is a way of bridging a gap that had existed between development and operations team. But DevOps is not like, oh, I am DevOps. No, it is more of like a verb. It's what you do rather than who you are. But because it's kind of being used and being kicked around a lot, turning from being a verb to being a noun. So people are now saying, I am a DevOps person. Or historically, or if you want to use it in its true nature, DevOps is what you do rather than who you are. So again, developers team, they are always usually involved with writing code, building, testing, and planning the code. Operations team, they will manage how that code goes to production, which we call release. Before they release the code, they need to deploy, they need to put the code somewhere. Then they need to monitor to make sure the code is healthy, and they need to perform regular operations on the code. So that is what operations team do. So DevOps kind of bridge that gap. But how does DevOps bridge the gap? How does he ensure that the crack that over time existed between dev and operation is bridged? How is that done? So DevOps relies on a set of principles to be able to do that. Again, remember that DevOps is not a person or an individual. Um, it is more of what you do. So how does DevOps ensure there is synergy between development and operation? So DevOps is about CAMS. CAMS is having the right culture in place, the right automation in place, the right measurement in place, and a sharing mechanism. Culture is how you kind of revamp how the development team thinks and how the operations team thinks. What are the new things we have to bring into play to ensure that there is synergy between the development team and the operations team? Automation is about the new tooling you need to bring into play to make sure there is smooth operations between the development team and the operations team. Automation is about automatic way of doing things. What are those things we can bring to help with the synergy between the operations and development team? That's what automation is all about. Measurement is about how do we ensure we track progress? Are we progressing or are we not? If we are progressing, what is our rate of progress? If we are not progressing, what are those things we can measure to see if we are going the positive direction or in a negative direction? And sharing is all about collaboration. How do we ensure that lessons that we learn, maybe doing things the wrong way, is being shared across the board so that everyone kind of learns from it and the same mistake is not repeated? Or better still, how do we ensure that the progress that we made or the right decision that we made, that information is shared with other teams so they can learn from us and actually repeat the success that we've had? So that is all about CAMS, the right culture, automation to measurement, and sharing of information. What are the DevOps culture that we preach? So is it about making sure we communicate better, making sure we have transparency? When you don't do things well, just about life generally, if you are open and truthful, there's progress. The same thing goes in IT world. So somebody makes a mistake and he hides his mistake, potentially somebody else down the line makes that mistake. If you make a mistake and you raise up your hand and say, I made this mistake, so people would, see that mistake and they will learn from it and no one hopefully repeat that mistake. So how would that happen? That would happen when you have no blame culture. So it's not about, hey, you did it and you're in trouble, you're going to get sacked. No, if you do that, then you would not be helping the company in the long run. So no blame culture, you have to trust yourself, you have to be honest, there has to be the right transparency, there has to be collaboration, there has to be rewarding of excellence, there has to be honesty, and so on and so forth. These are the culture that kind of, it's just a sensible thing, thing that's obviously, what's the word? It's obviously open and true, and you believe them because they not only apply to DevOps, but to almost everything we do in life. So, and these are the culture, these are the ingredients that makes up the culture of DevOps. So if you bring those values or culture into play in IT, especially in hard development and operations team work, you see a marked improvement in how things are done, and you see a marked improvement in progress made. So the other thing is about tooling. So we talk about having the right culture, but have the right tools. So with the right culture, that is good, but if we don't have the right tool to actually make sure things are done properly, sometimes you ask people to do X, but if you don't have the guardrail or the infrastructure to ensure that they follow the set of process that you put down, it could be difficult. So if you have the right tooling to facilitate that, that helps. And that is why DevOps would need some set of tools to make sure that that synergy between development and operation works. So the kind of tools that we work with are the ones I'm sharing here. These are only some of them. We use tools like Jenkins, like Splunk, like JUnit, and so forth. I wouldn't worry about this for now. Just know that when we're talking about CAMs, having the right culture is there, but you need to have the right tooling as well. So the right tooling will help you with the automation, which is the A part of CAMs. So with the right tooling, you can do infrastructure automation. So infrastructure is the machines that you're going to need. How do you build them? With the right tools, you can automatically bring them up, which we call automation. The right tool will enable you to do that. Configuration is you have a machine, but you want that machine to be able to have good CPU, good memory, good storage. How do you manage that? You have the right tool for that as well. Deployment automation is the developer writes a code. How do you take that code from him and drop it on the right machine? Tools that is needed for that is part of what you're going to need for DevOps. And how do you measure performance? There's some tooling for that as well. And how do you monitor things? There are tooling for that as well. So these are the tooling, some of the tooling that you're going to use within DevOps to ensure that things run smoothly between dev and operation. What are those things? Why is DevOps so important? What are those things that DevOps brings to the table? Why are we not doing things the dev and ops way that we've, that historically is the way of doing things? It's silo free. So what that means is there's no, I'm dev, I'm just doing things my own way, and ops, I'm doing things my own way. No, there's a handshake now between dev and operation. So there's no siloed way of working. There's synergy. People work closely, they collaborate together. When you have collaboration, naturally you have progress. And because people are talking, people are learning, people are discussing, people are brainstorming, positive attitude is being rewarded, you have less bugs. Less bugs means your code behaves better. It's not a case of, somebody makes a mistake somewhere and nobody was able to kind of stop that mistake or detect the mistake and fix it. Because a lot of people are looking, and a lot of people are having the right positive attitude. There's no, if you make a mistake, nobody's going to blame you, so you become open. And because you are open, a lot of things will be found. And that is why you potentially you have less buggy code. And when your code is less buggy, you have better quality of product. So your website will not crash because somebody did not remember to configure it properly, or somebody did not remember to build it the right way, because you would have discovered that somewhere along your journey. There's something we call continuous integration, which is a continuous way of testing, doing quality control, and so forth, to make sure that we are not only, we don't say, the application is in production, everything is fine, let's go home. We are continuously revamping how we work. We are continuously checking how we do things so that we continuously begin to learn and begin to improve. When you have continuous way of working and you're checking yourself, just like in life, you begin to improve, because there's something you did bad yesterday that you didn't do well, because you are continuously checking. You want to improve on that today and tomorrow and the day after. So naturally, there's progress. And because you have a systematic way of working, where things are working almost like in unison, you have a quick reaction to time. So there's going to be a faster release. So for example, they are running election in Nigeria tomorrow, and they say, can you write a software for us to manage election in Nigeria? Because your team has the synergy within your team, you have better quality control, you have the right tool in place, you can release that code quickly. You can write the code and push it to production quickly. That's what we call faster release. And because you have a very polished way of working, and because your code has less buggy, and because you can do things quickly, there's naturally a low cost of production. So you're not going to need 10,000 people. You're going to need only few people that know what they are doing, that have the right way to back them. You naturally cut down costs. And because also your system is not crashing when it's peak period, when you're supposed to make money, so your system is working due to the fact that it's less buggy and there's better control, you would make a lot of money, and there will be you're only now reducing how much you are going to use to support your code in production, but you also going to be making a lot of money because you have less downtime. Downtime is, oh, my server, my website has crashed. Oh, the election software is not working anymore. There will be less of that because there's less bug in your code and there's better quality control. And then you can have an automatic way of fixing things. So nobody's going to be going to move the wire and shake the machine. Because you have the right tooling in place, you can, just the way the way Facebook released their product. You just see that as you're using Facebook, something new just appears. Facebook does not crash before they put a new product in place. Your WhatsApp application doesn't crash before they put something new in place. You just see that while you are using your WhatsApp, something is just pops up almost seamlessly. That's what we call automatic deployment. And that would only happen with DevOps. Again, DevOps is not writing code. It's having the right culture to support the development team and the operations team. So, but you hear about DevOps, and then you hear about cloud. Well, how do they connect? What is DevOps? What is cloud? So, DevOps and cloud is almost like a match made in heaven. DevOps is more about what you need to do. Cloud is about facilitating what you need to do to make sure it happens. For example, we talk about automatic way of pushing things to production, automatic way of doing things live. That is part of what cloud brings to you. Cloud allows you to scale your business from zero to almost infinity overnight. And I'm not going to talk about the technical aspect of it today, but just know that DevOps leverages cloud to achieve its objective. Part of the objective of DevOps is making sure that there's synergy between development and operations, so that if you need to scale your business, for example, Mr. X, he has a website to showcase his dairy product. This is February. There's not a lot of sales. There's not a lot of activity on his website. But come December is a different story. So the people that visit his website as at now, sometime in February, let's just give an hypothetical number of about 300 people a day. That could easily ramp up to thousands of people during December period. It doesn't have the right infrastructure to support that burst of number of people visiting his website. The website could crash. Every website you see is powered by a machine. So if you have 300 people visiting your website, one machine might be enough to power your website. Overnight, if 10 people or 100 people grows to 50,000, 100,000 people, if those people are checking your website at the same time, the website begins to slow down, and then at some point, it gives up and dies. So what DevOps allows you to do is allows you to almost transparently scale your machine. So what happens is with the right tooling, 3 people connect to one machine, no problem. It gets 100 people, no problem. It's getting to 1,000 people, there's begin to be a problem. There's the tooling you have in place that detects that. We'll talk about measurement. It detects the machine is struggling. Automatically, let me build some new machines. And then the load, instead of going to one machine, is then spread across several machines. So that be it 10 people, be it 20 people, be it 100 people, be it 1,000 people, be it 10,000 people, that load will be spread across as many machines as is required to support that load. So, but that can only happen if you have cloud implemented with DevOps. Because with cloud, you can spin up as many machines almost instantaneously, transparently, as much as possible. So with DevOps and cloud, things have moved in the order of magnitude to ensure that there's a seamless operation of DevOps to support our business needs. So when we talk cloud, we are usually talking about cloud providers such as the big Amazon Web Service, which AWS, or the Microsoft Azure, or the Google Cloud, or IBM Cloud. There are a lot of players in the cloud space. So usually for in our training and how we kind of help people, our focus is mainly on these two players. The reason for that is because they hold the lion's share of the cloud world. So Azure and AWS are those cloud providers that we focus on. And if you can cover those pretty much, I think you're good. So so how does cloud and DevOps work? So these are kind of things we also would talk about, in our training. So the company that implements DevOps and the company that does not implement DevOps, what are if you do a comparison, how do they compare? How do they compare? The company that implements DevOps is quicker to react to new demands. So say you have a product that is able to take money in pounds, and they say, oh, we want to be able to take money in naira, and we want to be able to take credit card, and we want to be able to take debit card. That means you have to rewrite your code. But because you have mechanism in place to test, to check, to push to life quickly, you can react to new demands quite quickly. And because you can do that during December period quickly within 2 or 3 days, that means you can capture new markets quicker than somebody that does not implement DevOps. But that person might take 3 months, and then he misses December, and then he's lost millions of pounds. Because you, as a company, you're implementing DevOps, you can react to new demand quite quickly and in a robust, safe manner. So you're not going to write code because you are rushing and you introduce bug in your code. Because putting the right DevOps mechanism in place, you will have detected those bugs, fixed them, and whatever you release is almost bug-free, and you can quickly begin to enjoy it. Quick time to market means you can get this thing done and have it released quickly. So you can see something that does not implement DevOps is prone to disaster, their work is very reliable, and so on and so forth. When we are talking DevOps, how does that apply to you? What are the specialization we have in DevOps? So when we are talking DevOps and we're talking about implementing DevOps, there are different specialists or specializations in DevOps. There's some part of DevOps that focus on cloud. We call them the cloud specialists. These are people that would work on Azure, on AWS, on Google Cloud to kind of provide that infrastructure for DevOps to work. Then we have people we call the DevOps developers. These are people that typically will write code to help with implementing DevOps. We have the automation specialist who write automation automation is automatic way of doing things to detect maybe problems, to measure maybe to measure metrics, maybe to fix problem almost automatically, which we call auto recovery, automatic recovery. And then we have what we call the site reliability specialist. These are specialists that look after production environment. They are so vast in knowledge that they can almost do anything and understand any problem quite quickly and fix them. For their day-to-day operations, the cloud specialist would build infrastructure. It will provision machines, it will provision network configurations, and this is where we typically would help people in our training. We usually would train people to be cloud specialists because if you look at the complexity in each of the specializations, the least complicated or the one that has the least learning curve is the cloud specialist. So you can become a cloud specialist quicker than being a DevOps developer or an automation specialist or a site reliability specialist. That's why the cloud specialist day to day will write configuration code to build machines, to expand on machines, to build network, and all the rest of it. And that is why it says that you don't have to be a developer to be a DevOps person, because there are different specializations that you can pick. Of course, you're a developer, there's a role you can play. If you're not a developer, there are roles you can play as well. It's just like an orchestra, a music orchestra. You don't have to have the best voice to play an orchestra, because you could be a drum specialist. You could be maybe a trumpet specialist. be a xylophone specialist. So there's a role for everyone to play there. Why should you care? Why should you care about this thing? Why is DevOps so important for you? Why should it be important to you personally? We know it's important to business because you have business to save money, you have business to make money, you have business to have the right reputation because if WhatsApp was crashing every now and again, people will start using WhatsApp. See? And if something is costing a lot of money to make, perhaps by now be charging for it. So, if your product is reliable, the product is beautiful, if you can bring out new features or functionality of your product quite seamlessly, people will respect and trust your product. That's on the business side of things. But you as a person, why should you care? You should care because DevOps is one of the hottest disciplines in IT. Companies are always looking for DevOps specialists. Because companies invest a lot into DevOps, potentially get paid a lot. As I showed here, the people making up to about 700, north of 700, 650 a day on DevOps that they're being paid. So there's money to be made there, and the amount that they are being paid is growing by the day or is growing by the year. The beauty about DevOps is it's not something that you learn today and you stop learning. Because there are always new things coming out in DevOps. That means that they cannot easily be discarded. It's not like an old knowledge. It's not like something you learn and then tomorrow you're no longer relevant. Because new things keep coming out. In as much you're able to keep yourself abreast, there's always going to be a job for you because there's something new in DevOps that just came out. If you learn it, then you climb up to the next ladder. It's because DevOps is still evolving and growing. So it's not something that's going to die next year or next 5 years. So because of the demand and supply situation with DevOps specialists, DevOps roles that are available are actually more than available engineers or specialists to support DevOps. So companies would fight tooth and nail to get the right person because the demand for those people is quite high. Sometimes they even help people with visa sponsorship. Help people to get out of the country. So if you're in Nigeria, you are somewhere, you're hoping to get out. If you learn this and you learn it right, it's a very good chance that you're going to get a country that sponsors you out of Nigeria. I've seen it happen. It's not like I'm saying it hopefully. It happens. And also, you have a lot of opportunity to do remote working. So even if you are based wherever you are, Mogadishu, Sudan, Pakistan, Nigeria, companies abroad in America, in Canada, in US, UK, they can employ you remotely and they pay you in their old hard currency. That happens. It still happens every day. So it's possible. And this is why you should care. A lot of people try this, they know this, they want to do it, but sometimes they don't succeed. So why don't many succeed in their pursuit? They try this, they don't get it. I believe that anyone can do it, regardless of your IT or programming background. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't have to have studied IT. But there's a method to the madness. Learning anything new is never easy. If I'm going to be learning French today, I'm going to sweat. It's just natural. It's not IT or programming. No, it's just the rigor of learning anything new. If you're ready to pay the price, you're ready to not look back, then it can happen. But what you have to bear in mind is learning DevOps is not learning Excel. You're not going to, I'm learning Microsoft or I'm learning Corridor. No, it's different. It is learning a process. It's not like learning IT testing. It's not like learning project management. It has to be respected. It's a monster. But the monster can be tamed if you know what the monster likes. Another thing is DevOps is not an entry-level role. It's not, I leave uni, I'm a DevOps engineer. There's nothing like that. Because it is more of like a role for people that have experience. How do we bridge that gap to present you as somebody that is vast, even though you're only a few months old in the process? This is where we come in, and I'm going to come to that later. So these are the things we need to bear in mind, but it will require a structured learning approach. There has to be a structure. It's not like, I'm going on Udemy, I'm going to pick this, pick that. You're just going to have scattered knowledge of A, B, C, and D, but you won't know how to kind of connect. I've seen people do that. Oh, let me go on Udemy, which is fine. Let me learn on my own. The problem is you're not going to be able to connect the dots, and it will not make sense. Another thing is when you're learning, you should not learn by just reading. You need to do hands-on. You need to practice. You need to get your hands wet and really, really get into it. I have to have the right mindset because uh, uh, things will get really difficult along the way. So you need to bear that in mind, and you need time. This is not something. Oh, no, I need to go to Nigeria. I have a project going. Oh, my baby is crying. It would just be a waste of time and waste of money. So if you don't have time on you, if you don't have good 6 months where you can sort of block yourself and really get into it, there's no point. So you need to know that it has to be respected. It's not something you treat on the side. It takes the whole of your time. If you can put all that in place, you're on your way to learning DevOps. And another thing is you need to understand the interview know-how. How do you talk in interview that you don't come across like a novice? Because they can quickly smell you out. This guy doesn't is new to it, and if you're new to it, they're not going to get you because it is not an entry level role. So the interview know is part of what people need to understand. The CV rejig, so the CV needs to be kind of shake around a little bit, and you need a solid work reference because on an entry level role, they want to see where else you have worked prior, and that is why many don't succeed. So how can we help? We can help by giving you a structured training program. So we have a structure, we have a tested way of working that we have tried for so many years and has worked. Our training is fully hands-on. You have direct access to instructors. So like the things you see on Udemy, you can't really access the instructor in real time. In our case, this is me and the people we work with, you can access them anytime. And we kind of take a ground-up approach whereby we're starting from zero. If you have never done programming before, if you don't even know what a server means, no problem. What we need is the right attitude. If you have that, you can do it. So we take a ground-up approach where we take it from zero all the way to the top. Now, and the way we teach is we are not teaching technology just for teaching technology's sake. We are teaching you to get a job. So we are not going to teach you things that you don't need to get a job. We're going to cherry pick the things that would help you to get a job quickly because we know that you're not going to know everything, but you just need to know enough to get a job and let you learn on the job. So we have a method that we use and help so that you don't have to learn everything under the sun before you get a job. So we have interview, we have your CV, and we have your reference. We have a competitive training course, so our course is not like onerous, it's not overly expensive. And then we have a live collaboration channel whereby if you get a job tomorrow and you're stuck and you need help, we have a very rich collaboration platform that you can go to and say, guys, I'm stuck, please, I need help. Can you help me? We have that. So take you to our training curriculum. This is what our training curriculum looks like. We will introduce the DevOps. We'll take you through the toolings and whatnot. And all the key things you need to know about cloud, we'll teach that as well, and so forth. So, trust the process. We have a process. So usually, if you're interested, we will discuss with you to see if you are actually right for it. To be honest, it's not for everyone. That is why we don't only do DevOps. We do things around AML, and CAMS exam and all the rest of it. So DevOps is not for everyone. Sometimes you need to go on a different path, and we can advise you on that. So we'll discuss with you. You can then decide with us to say, okay, we think this is for you. You then decide. When you make the decision, then you can commence the process. And then when the process commences, there are going to be sessions and projects that we do just to make sure you understand. You go through the session, you take project, go session, take project for like 3 to 6 months, and then we prepare you for interview. And fingers crossed, you nail a job. So our next training is happening in April, and then we can talk about that when we discuss. And that discussion will always usually be on a one-to-one thing, rather than something we kind of take on a public forum or in a general forum. So that's pretty much it. Before I kind of go any further, I want to use this opportunity to bring my good people that have worked with us in the past, we've trained, and are doing things, fantastic things in their chosen endeavor today. I have a few online, and I'm going to bring them to play. So please listen to them, and it's going to be a short one, and then we can take questions after them. So I'm going to start with my beautiful sister, Voke. Voke, I don't know if you're online.
I'm here. Good evening,
Oh,
everyone.
fantastic. Good evening. Thank you. Over to you, man.
Right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Voke. I work as a consultant for in the education sector as a Linux engineer. I've started my IT career with a background in as a Solaris Unix engineer, and then that's way back. But I took a break at some point just to take care of my family, and like I'm sure some of us know, and maybe not necessarily everyone, like I mentioned, that I have a background in Solaris. So coming back into the scheme of things, Solaris had sort of like become extinct because of Oracle taking over from Sun Microsystems. So I needed to upgrade my skills, and DevOps was the next best thing. And that's where I undertook the training from Tech Blitz to gain an understanding of the tools and the technology to break back into the system. Luckily for me, as in the training focused on things like AWS, cloud infrastructure, configuration management, all of the good things that Oje has mentioned, pipelines, Docker, Ansible, Jenkins. The good thing about the training was that there are so many tools that DevOps offer, but there is no um, one single thing. You don't have to know all. And I think he also mentioned it that you can be a specialist in one aspect or in a few tools. For instance, the training was like AWS centered, but I ended up doing a certification in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which was a like for like platform like AWS. I also we also got trained on configuration management, things like Ansible. And in my role, my day-to-day role at the moment, I'm using um, Puppet and Ansible. And we got trained on things like pipelines using Jenkins, and I'm using GitLab CI/CD for mine. So what I'm trying to say is that the skills are actually, the knowledge is transferable. Once you learn one tool, you can always apply it because the concepts are similar. We also learned version control, and we did Git, but on my job, I use GitLab. And we also used Docker. I use Docker on my job. So I was good coming from a Solaris background, and Linux, as in Solaris is like an operating system like Windows and Linux. So I was able to, integrate seamlessly into Linux, and now I can actually call myself a Linux engineer. Like I mentioned, my current role is as a Linux engineer, and I've been able to grow on the job. Been there for 2 years now, so it's a very good training. I can't recommend it enough. And well done, Shegun, for the hard work and all the training. I think I would say it's really paid off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my sister. Thank you for those glowing comments. Yes. So as you mentioned, the skills are transferable. So the key thing is understanding the concept, and you can then move the concept, transfer the concept, and tweak it as required to be able to do what you have to do. As I always say to people, the most important thing you can learn in DevOps is adaptability. Because you're never going to get something that would basically fit into what you've been trained on. But what you learn during training, how to adapt. That is one thing I always tell people to take away from training. But we can talk about all that, as you kind of get along the line. So I'm going to invite my good friend Tunde to please take the platform.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Tunde. Go on.
Okay. Hi, my name is Tunde. Hello, everyone. Just a quick one from me. I did the DevOps training with Shogun about 2 years ago. Proud to doing the training. I come from like banking finance background, so I wasn't really techie. So I was very worried, like, is this really for me? I was worried that this is going to be really hard. But I would say one thing, Shagun is a very, very good trainer. You're all in safe hands. He knows his stuff very well. So with Shagun, the way he explains things, is very good in that. And another thing I like to say, DevOps is a growing area. There are a lot of opportunities in this area. And if you're willing to put in the effort, the reward could be life-changing and tremendous. But you have to be really fully committed to it. And also, there's a DevOps community support group run by Shagun. So if you ever get stuck, there's always someone there to help you out. So I believe, last thing I like to say, if you're dedicated, committed, and you want to a truly rewarding career, just give it a go. We hope a lot of those for you. Thank you.
Thank you today. Thank you very, very much. I don't think I can top that. Thank you. Um, I think I want to invite my good friend as well. Jide, line.
Hi guys. Yeah, so mine will be quite short. A senior DevOps engineer. I currently work with William Hill. So and yeah, so pretty much I had a background in IT, but I was trying to get into DevOps by myself. I think 2019. So I tried to take some courses by myself, but I was struggling to piece things together. So I got introduced to Shegun, so took the course. So I was really impressed with the way he broke things down and made all the tools and tech I had been hearing about to fit together. And also we had an hands-on project, which in doing you would face different issues, and Shegun is always available to support. And I think from doing the project you'd learn a lot. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it on the training we did, and since then we've maintained a WhatsApp group where we share ideas, and when we run into difficulties at work, we post it on the group chat and people chip in to try and help. So, and in terms of DevOps, I would say it's a skill that if you learn, the sky is almost the limit, really, because there are lots of opportunities and jobs everywhere. And yeah, so there's quite a bit to learn in terms of the scope. But what I found um, over my 3 4 years of working is that it's not all the tools you use on each and every role. It might just be a couple of the tools, but I think the broad understanding you get from this training will see you through in your DevOps career, really. So I think, yeah, that's all I have to share.
Thank you, Jide. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that covers it beautifully. Thank you, thank you. I think I have two people more. Want to invite Favor, who's my one of my dearest. Favor, are you on the line?
Oh yeah, I am. Good evening,
Oh,
everyone.
fantastic.
Hi everyone, I'm Fable Kunter. As Shagun introduced me, currently working as the senior DevOps engineer and an AWS partner for a consulting firm. I transitioned from being a network engineer. I would use the word from a NOC team to also served as an SR site reliability engineer, team lead for a fintech company, and to where I am currently. Shagun said a lot about what DevOps is, and his training really helped to see everything practically. His training helped me specifically because I would use the word I started from the bottom, and now I'm there, and it was really a great one because it really helps me to know the meaning of what Shagun always used. I would use Shagun's best words was digging deep. We were taught on how to dig deep and how to learn things ourselves, to get to know, find solutions ourselves. So it really helped a lot. And Shagun, like everyone has said, Shagun is really a good tutor, and he creates this opportunity for you to have a one-on-one session and for him to always help you out. So it's really a great course so far. A great word of advice I would share is Shagun's classes, tutorials, should I use the word, exercise here are really something that one should keep doing and one should not just pass off, because in every project that's given, there are a lot of things to learn and errors and lessons that one can actually learn from. So this is a great one, great work and great initiative, TechBit and Shagun. Thank you.
Thanks, Eva. Thank you very much for the glowing word. Shola, please over to you.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Shola Laba. I currently work with a company called African Leadership, ALX. Yeah, I'm the only DevOps guy there. And one of the things I want to say, because I'm not going to talk much about the tools, is that myself and Favor was the same set with Shagun, and we've seen the impact of what the training did to us when we got on into our various organizations. I think one of the things I want everyone to understand is that Shagun knows his game. He knows everything he needs to teach you. It's not about the volume. You might have gone online to look about the curriculum content for everyone. Shagun knows exactly to let you know. And one of the things is the dynamic nature of cloud engineering or DevOps, because new things is always come up. You know, Favor mentioned using the word digging deep, and that is what we use all around us. You know, because when you get to your job, fine, we have a community that's going to assist you, but the question is, what's the role are you going to put? And Shagun will surely give you that scenario of, an organization scenario, even during your training. One of the things I've seen Shagun is Shagun does not like a lazy person. If you're not ready for the training, for everything, he will tell it to you. Does it? No, I don't like this attitude. And I'm sure, but if you go through go through this training, there is this. The first sky is not even the limit for you. There is no way you can work as a cloud engineer and as a DevOps. So yeah, it's a plus, a win-win for me. Anytime for anyone who wants to go, I say, oh, please go for this training. Thank you, everyone.
Smashing. Thank you, Shola. And last but not the least, it's my beautiful friend, Shonwa Woga. Are you online?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot, Shagun. It's just I'm just smiling by right here. Because a lot of these people that I've worked with them one-on-one, and I'm so glad that they are all successful in career now. Yeah, like I said, my name is Shonwa Woga. I'm from Cisco telephone IP background. I currently work as a DevOps engineer. I've had the opportunity to work with Shagun as well for the last 2 years. It's been a wonderful experience, you know. I'm currently on another project, and one of the things that gave me confidence to actually work on this project is just because of the journey that we've been through together. You know, like everyone have said, Shagun is a fantastic tutor, and he's always looking out for everyone. And it keeps challenging you, you know, to try and do more, So apart from the all the tools you've seen, don't get too worried about them, because what you learn in this particular job might not be what you will learn on the other one, you know. Even though that the skills is transferable, you know, don't get too worried about it. I believe this is a very good platform for you to actually excel if you want to go into DevOps. Like Shola said, Shagun likes people that are very hardworking. There are two things you need. You know, one is resilience. You know, you need to be very, very resilient. And I believe that as long as you have the desire to learn,
you would succeed on this platform. So I don't want to worry you too much talk. Just get enrolled and let's get that job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for those glowing words. Guys, that's it really. So obviously to be continued. If you want to hear more, you can ping me one-on-one. You can send me an email. I'm more than happy to have a discussion with you. Kind of maybe take things deeper. But I'm going to open the forum now for questions and comments. If anyone has a question, you can verbally ask now. Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Olawale.
Hello, Mr. Wale.
Thank you for the lecture. Actually, I have 3 questions to ask. So I'm just going to take them one after the other, if that's okay. So my first question is, I get the part where you explained that you don't have to necessarily have a background in IT before you can do this. So my question is, after doing this, do I still need to go for like a maybe professional courses just to be certified? Because, you know, if I want to apply for jobs, I can't just say I have this knowledge. So I think I need to have something to like back it up. So my first question is, do I still need to go for professional courses after this training? So that is the first question. And the second question, because just as I can see on the screen, the next training starts in April. So my second question centers on that. I would like to know how much time I need to commit for the training, because you know, as it is now, there are other commitments that that I'm into, like my work, family, and all that. So I would like to know, like, how much time do I need to commit to it? Is it going to be like a weekly thing, or maybe twice a week, or how many hours in a day? So I don't know how it's going to be structured. That's my second question. And then my third question is the training going to be online or physical? So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Lawali. So let me start with the training. So the training starts in April. Usually the way we work is we would use up to about 6 hours of lecture, which is online. Our training is fully online. There's no physical kind of connection involved. So it's all on Zoom, just like this, where we kind of discuss and whatnot. Training is usually 6 hours, so we will be like three days in a week. Usually we used to do on a weekend, but we are going to change. We've changed that in the past. So, but we always sort of discuss with the students to see what time the people will generally support, and that's the time frame we'll use. So, just to answer your question directly, it is online, fully online, and the training hours is 6 hours in a week. However, you'll be given a weekly project, which you will then turn in after the end of the week. It's not like a strict deadline, but we encourage people so that the project do not pile up, because the key to succeeding in the training is really not what you hear in the class, but what you actually do. So you're going to get a weekly project, which you have to do outside of the class hours. But the training per se, the training itself is 6 hours. And then we're going to generate a lot of materials which you have to go over. So, of course, you're not going to stop your job. Of course, life has to continue. Of course, you know, the family has to keep going. So you just need to kind of have a bit of a discipline to accommodate that. But the only thing I'm going to say is, for somebody that doesn't have an IT background, you would need more time. So that you've not played music before, you don't have a musical background. To join an orchestra, you have to work harder than the guy that, you know, learned how to play flute or the guitar in secondary school. But doesn't mean you can't do it. It means you have to put in more time. In terms of certification, yes, it helps, because what happens is when recruiters are kind of skimming through who they're going to present for a job, they don't know you, So what they kind of do quick field training is they look at how the sprinkles you've got, the icing on the cake you have on your CV. So I always encourage people to take, certifications, and we can help towards that as well. There's another the madness again. So certification is not the hardest thing to do. So yes, we would help you facilitate that, but you do need certification, especially if you don't have an IT background. Don't know if that covers the question.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Any other person?
Good evening, Mr. Shegun. My question focuses around the training as well. So, can you please tell us how long is training for? Like how many weeks, how many months? And obviously talking about the financial implication, how much will it cost us close?
By the way, I see you have 427730, so I don't know your name, so
Oh, sorry, my name.
Forgive me.
Ayo, yeah, sorry, I don't know. I think that's
Ayo.
automatic generated name for me. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You can just find me as Ayo, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Ayo, thank you. Thanks for the question. So yeah, the training is usually around 3 months, but that is only for the classwork. Then after the classwork, or the lectures proper, then you have a project, just like going to school, you do your coursework, then you have project. A project is something you do on your own, because the project is what we then put on your CV. So it's going to be a real life project that will take time to build, and that is where you will learn a lot, and you are going to sweat, because by the time you are talking about your CV, it is a lived experience, it's what you've done, so you're not making it up. And that is the project you do. And that project usually takes between 6 weeks to 3 months, depending on how quickly you can do things. So you turn it in, I look at it, I say it's not good enough. You go again, you try. So usually it takes between 6 weeks and 3 months. So if you add that 3 months of training plus almost another 6 weeks to 3 months of project, you're looking at roughly around 6 months of intense work. So that's that. In terms of cost, it kind of varies. So it depends on the courses we are covering. So we have different programs. So we have programs that would help you only to take you to the door of getting a job. What I mean by that is train you on the things you need to know and then get you to the door. But we also have a training program that not only takes you to the door. When you get the job, we then even support you on the job, like one-to-one. There's another sort of like, if you like, a package for that. Then we have another package that takes you through certifications and even takes you beyond 6 months. So say, for example, after 6 months, you still think you don't have the confidence, we can then recycle you again and train you over and over and over and over until you're almost basically coughing out DevOps. So there are different programs and different schemes that we have. Also, the jurisdictions where you are, your location, also has a bearing on how much you pay. So it's something that we kind of discuss based on location and based on the package. And I'm more than happy to discuss that with you one-on-one.
Okay.
Yes?
Sure.
I'm kind of cognizant of it. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of cognizant of the time. I don't know if anyone has any other more questions. Otherwise, I'm more than happy for you to call me, and but I'm more than happy to take. But I'm kind of cognizant. We've gone like 12 minutes past the hour now.
Yeah. So just a final question for me. So, this popular saying that DevOps doesn't really require expertise or knowledge of programming. Can you please discuss a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, there are different specializations in DevOps. So, it is not. Let me just go back. So, there are almost about 4 aspects. So, there's a cloud specialist, there's a DevOps developer, there's the automation specialist, there's a site reliability specialist. The cloud specialist is more about writing configuration information. So you don't have to. Most of the guys that have spoken on the platform, they don't have programming background.
Okay.
So it's something that you can learn how to do configuration of systems. Well, if you wanted to be like a DevOps developer, then you will have to learn serious programming language, maybe like Java, Python, but we don't train people in that. We focus on training you as a cloud specialist. Because if you want to be a DevOps developer, then you need a development background. Likewise, if you want to be an automation specialist or a cyber. So the one we focus on is the one that has the least resistance, which is the cloud specialist. Over time, you then grow to become a DevOps specialist on the job, because you're not going to be stagnant in life. As soon as you get your feet steady, you learn, and then you basically progress. You can then progress to be an automation specialist. For example, as Favor mentioned, is now a senior site reliability specialist, which is something he's grown into. But we will generally start people off as a cloud specialist, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Hello, Ayo?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. Do you have an idea or the particular date that you are contemplating starting this training in April?
Yeah, we did say sometime in April, so there's no specific date yet.
Okay.
But we'll be tentatively sometime in April. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so anyone that is keen on this, so you can drop me an instant messaging, or you can email me if you want to hear more, and then we can begin to discuss, and then we decide, and then we can begin. We already have people on our sheet that want to take the training. I think we've got about 6 people. Usually we don't take more than 15, so that we can have a one-to-one. And also, anyone that's on this platform, I'm more than happy to give discount as well. If you just mention that you're on this discussion forum, we'll definitely shave some amount off you of the training for you. Yeah, so let's do this. Reach out. If we get the numbers right, then you might have to wait till another time. But yeah, by all means, reach out to me, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you so very much. Thank you, guys. Have a great week. Yes. Hello.
Sorry, I love this platform, and I really thank you, Segun, for putting this up. And I love it, and the wonderful words that I've heard from your generals, if I'm permitted to call them that, is wonderful and is encouraging. And I sincerely appreciate every word I've heard. Around the pricing, I know you asked us to reach out, but I'm just saying, you said something. It's about the price is a bit subjective based on the geolocation and that. Well, it's I'm just trying, maybe because I'm already your student. Let me put it that way. I want to be your student, maybe because I think I read about one side where you need to evaluate and see whether it's not about our intention, it's about whether we are fit to become your student. But I'm routing up, saying that I want to be one of your students, but it's just about the pricing. And I think you've already said we should reach out to you one-on-one and we'll negotiate. I just feel it's going to be probably a fixed figure for one cap fit all, but it's like you're saying, it's not one cap fit all. It's like everybody will have to kind of negotiate based on some things, even geolocation, Nigeria, or Kenya, or Egypt, or UK, US, the price will vary. But I'm just trying to say you should please tamper mercy as your justice with mercy.
I get it.
Okay,
I mean, it would be a shame. Thank you, Demilade. It would be a shame not to take the training because of monetary reasons. There's always ways that we can get around that. So hopefully that will not be a spanner in the works. So we should be able to get around that. Just reach out, and then we can see how we can sort of meet somewhere in the middle. Thanks for those glowing words. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So thanks, Jen. Please reach out if you have to. And then I wish you a very good week. Thank you again. Cheers. Speak again soon.
Bye.
Bye.